2 hours. That's it. That's what it took me to beat the entire beta. Act 1 as a Necro, which is clearly broken, by the way. But ultimately, if this stays the same and it's consistent through all the other acts, this entire storyline is going to be less than 10 hours, which is a third of the industry standard for ARPGs. Which I hate to say kind of is consistent with the lack of replayability that this game seems to have. And let's talk about that. Let's break this down a bit, watch some gameplay. There's a lot to discuss. One of the things that I really don't like about this game is the fact that it feels like, you look at this tree, and your first, 25 levels, or maybe it's 50 levels, you're really just building this one tree out, and it's not that big. There's not a huge variation in skills, right? It really isn't that many for the main ones. I think it's something like 20 or something like that. I'll have to count them at some point, but my issue with that is that that's going, and granted, when you hit Paragon, you'll be able to change things, but at least at first, you're going to be using the same shit from the beginning pretty much to the end while you're going through this. And when you finally do get to a point where, I've hit Paragon, I can start to specialize some of this stuff, it doesn't seem like it's going to drastically change what you're doing. It's going to be the same exact skills over and over. And the big thing that you're going to get that's new is, look, it might, synergize with something else a little bit differently. Maybe it might change the look of one of my spells or skills a little bit, but ultimately, you're doing the same actions over and over and over, and that's going to limit your replayability. I see that same issue in the dungeons and in the map. Diablo pioneered randomized maps. It just did. It was quintessential to Diablo. That's why it had so much replayability. I put 3,000 plus hours in Diablo 2, at least 2,000 hours in Diablo 1. And we hit, Diablo 3, and some of that randomization disappears, and I think I only put in 300-400 hours. I just couldn't get any more in because it was too fucking boring. And I didn't want to just continuously remake and reroll characters knowing that there was less randomization to all this stuff. And I see that playing out here a lot since they got rid of that randomization in the maps. You're going to lose that replayability for that. And then again with, it just kind of plays right into the itemization, right? They're just dropping crazy amounts of legendaries. Rares are as common at this point as magical items, which is just fucking insane. How are they rare? Let alone legendaries. And granted, they probably turned this up a little bit for the beta, but it just looks like since they eliminated trade, they've drastically limited their ability to have replayability on this. They're going to force you to continuously grind to get some more items, and because you can't trade for them. And the problem with that is, well, you've made your game linear because you didn't put any randomization in it. And then on top of that, it's really not that many spells or skills. And granted, yeah, cool, I can specialize a bit further, but you want me to completely re-roll my character and make a brand new character just to try out a new build? You want to force that replayability, which I think is great. I respect that, but it doesn't work if I don't have randomization, at all. I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna forecast 90% of players are gonna play this game twice. We're going to level up 2 classes, start to finish, love the end game, but get so sick of the linear bullshit that we just completely stop playing this game altogether and wait for the next season. And I think it's going to take Blizzard 2 years to undo this and figure it out before this game actually gets to a point where it has that replayability. And I say that knowing we're 3 months out right now, and they don't have enough time to change many of the main issues that people are complaining about, and they don't intend to. They're not incentivized to do it. Honestly, that's another big area, issue that we've got is they really will not give a shit until it affects their bottom line. And right now, they're killing it in sales because every one of us wanted that sequel to Diablo 2 that we never got. And here's what I'll say. I'm giving them a lot of shit right now, but ultimately, this game plays fantastically. I abso-fucking-lutely love the combat. The storyline is super dark. It's so clear that Inarius is probably going to be, you know, as evil as Lilith, if not more evil. But honestly, like, all that aside, you know, the replayability is not going to be there no matter how good you make it.
Discord together. Got all the way to Inferno in like one single playthrough.
That was like week 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was day 1. It was like by day 2 we were in hell mode.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah. It was fucking rough. Then we got to Inferno and got our clocks fucking absolutely cleaned, and we were like, oh shit. I think I need sleep now.
Yes. You know, there's not many games that have really pushed me to that limit, too. You know what I mean? Where it's like...
Yeah, no, there isn't.
You know, I was just saying, like... Dude, no game has ever enthralled me like D2 did.
Yeah, same. And I don't think any game ever will. This one's got a lot of things I like about it, though.
This has potential. I'm just so worried that they really doubled down on trying to force replayability while simultaneously making replayability impossible.
Yeah.
Like, the itemization and the unrandomized maps, the fact that, like, there really isn't a high level of, like, skill variation.
Oh, fuck no, dude.
You know what I mean? And those two things together, like, yeah. Oh, I'm trying to fucking...
It's really going to depend on what endgame is, man.
Yeah.
It's really going to be what decides if this game is good. And, you know, the good thing is that they're going to patch and update and release content and support this for a very long time. So it may end up just being a game that I have to walk away from for 6 months and come back after some shit's been fixed. Like,
right.
I don't know. We'll see. I guarantee within 12 months of release, it'll be a completely different experience.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think it's... Unfortunately, I think it's going to take them 2 years to completely fix everything.
Probably. Yeah,
but I think,
right.
to your point, like, in a year, the game is going to go through a pretty drastic change.
Yep. Stuff will be nerfed, things will be balanced, itemization will get changed. Like, there's going to be a lot of shit that comes.
I really hope they open up leveling, but I honestly don't... Or, not leveling, but, trading. But I honestly just don't think that it's going to happen.
I don't think they are, man. Their entire philosophy seems to have shifted in the last 6-7 years with what they're doing. And I don't know. I don't like that they're like, I would rather nobody fucking gets it than allow like some people to fucking make money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I really don't like that attitude.
Especially being like one of the highest profiting fucking game companies on the planet. Like, I mean, their annual statements are like in the billions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for them to be like nitpicking people making a few $100 here and there is just like.
Well, the funny thing to me is like, you know, they're not learning from other games that did similar things. And granted, they're in different genres, but like Escape from Tarkov, they are going that route too. They're like trying to limit how much can be traded and stuff. And one of the things that those devs are learning fucking very hard right now is, guys, you're ruining your fucking game. And granted, they've got major hacker issues, but dude, their entire fucking player base dropped.
Yep, the cards don't lie, boys. Look at the numbers.
Yeah,
numbers are going down. You're doing something wrong, and you need to stop. You need to reverse course.
Yeah, I do hope Blizzard can learn from that. We'll see what happens. I mean, hell, like Diablo 3 all I know, it doesn't affect them at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Diablo 3 had 7 million copies sell in 24 hours, and by the end of like week 2, they had like less than 1 million people actively playing.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, they got all their money.
Endgame, and Endgame was fucking garbage, and they were like, what the fuck? And there they went. So, WoW's gone through some really gnarly fucking ups and downs too, and it's hard to say. I know that Blizzard Blizzard has up to 43 million users a month.
That's
It's an
crazy.
absurdly large amount of people. So sure, like here's my thing, man. I'll pay for season passes if they're really good. If it's good content, I do not have an issue paying $9.99 to get more fucking content in the game. That doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Borderlands did it, and they did it to great success in Borderlands 2, and those content patches were incredibly good, and I did not feel like I was getting any sort of like swindled out of my purchase. And I want them to make money. I want them to keep the game good. I want them to make sure they're fucking they have incentive to keep doing it. But I don't want to have to pay sub fees or fucking season passes if they're just like a couple shitty cosmetics and like you got an extra dungeon or two. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. And
you
how do
could
you
literally-
balance that? Like, what do you want out of a battle pass for a game like this? It's not like it's a shooter.
No, and like here's what I would think, what I would do, because the whole like lore of Sanctuary, there's so many fucking like demons and angels. I would start introducing storylines of like lesser evils, or you know what I mean, and have like entire 12-hour plus fucking side stories for other fucking characters in the lore. And those would be like the content patches I would drop. It'd be like 4 or 5 different dungeons. You'd have a little narrative that goes into great depth on what that demon's deal is, and then you go kill it or stop it or whatever. What, man? Cool, good for you. I mean, you have the whole Angiris Council. You could be dealing with them. You could be dealing with Tyrael. He's still a prominent figure in fucking Diablo. He could have some weird side shit he has you do.
Yeah. I was actually surprised that we haven't seen him yet. We saw Inarius, which I'm like, awesome. Thank you for showing me the very clear end boss, possibly. Right off the bat. But I'd also love to see Tyrael and figure out, like, what's Tyrael been doing during this whole thing while Inarius is gaining so much power.
Well, do you know the lore of Inarius and why he's so fucking powerful?
I don't remember. It's been
so he was one of the original. Him and Lilith created Sanctuary back in the day, and Inarius, when the World Stone got created, bound his fucking essence into the World Stone. So he gets all the power of the World Stone, and it makes him like one of the most powerful fucking beings in like anywhere. Then him and Lilith actually had a relationship. They had children together, all sorts of shit. Then a human figured out, like a Nephilim human figured out that Inarius' essence was bound to the World Stone, and he managed to fucking find a way to sever it, and severed it, and after that happened, Lilith betrayed him and gave him to her fucking father, who's Mephisto.
Right.
And Mephisto took him to hell and basically stuck meat hooks in his flesh and tortured him for like 200 years.
Which would be a good reason to not like Lilith.
Yeah, 100%. And he's, at this point, he's free, and the lore is never clear if Mephisto just released him, knowing that like he was gonna fucking do a bunch of bad shit now, or if he managed to escape. But he's definitely looking to kill Lilith. Like that's a very clear fucking narrative line that's happening. And he created the fucking church, the Church of the Light. And so like the cathedral and all the religious figureheads we're seeing in this are direct fucking like acolytes of the church he created, and he created it to counteract all of Lilith's fucking crazy influence that she has on people.
Right. Which I actually fucking love in this storyline. Like, one of my favorite things about it is the Cathedral of Light, and, like, the fact that you have these, like, wary alliances with these obviously really fucking shady factions in the game, and they drive the story, and that pilgrimage that it forces you to go on towards the end is literally one of my favorite things I've ever had to do in the game.
Yeah, it fills in a lot of lore gaps, and it's really good.
Yeah.
And that's so one thing that Blizzard does incredibly well, and they always have, is they're very, very, very fucking good at creating a very vibrant fucking world as far as like lore and stories. So
Impressive.
honestly, man, the sky is the limit with Diablo 4, especially since they have already allocated major resources to keeping it supported and going. I
Yeah.
think we're going to see a lot of crazy shit. I know for a fact they have 3 expansions slated for this game.
Yeah, I know of the first 2. I saw the name of the third one, I think, in a Asmongold video.
Yeah.
I'm sure is who did it. Oh man, there's so many bugs in this game. Jesus.